Hi there. I just wanted to send a little video about the 10K test and how you can use that info in your advantage. So first of all, of course, a lot of efforts are good to measure, and even if you do it more often, then you can see over a longer period of time if you are actually improving. So that's of course the first part. You can use it to measure improvement. But the reason the 10K test is so useful is because it is still a very hard effort and relatively short, but it does require that you are in a quasi steady state. And what I mean by that is if you would run faster than steady state, then you could only hold that pace for like a few minutes. But a 10K, even if you are running 30 minutes, 40, 50 or 60 minutes, it requires that you can hold that pace for quite a long time, but not so long that you really you're not doing a marathon or running for 2 hours. And what that basically means is that you can run roughly at your LT2. You can actually run a 10K a little bit above, and that has to do with also your anaerobic capacity, but we won't dive into that part now. But mainly for a 10K, you can run that if you have like a really good day and you're well rested and you were well fed, then you can run a little bit faster than your second threshold during a 10K test. So therefore, 10K test has a really good correlation with if you are improving your LT2. And that's of course for HYROX very important, because in a 10K you are probably running, like I said, if it's going really well, just above it, while for a HYROX you want to run just under your LT2 because you need a little bit more recovery since you have all the workouts in between. So that's basically the reason why a 10K test is so useful, especially for HYROX, and since it has a very good correlation with your second threshold. What is important for the 10K test are a couple of things. So the result is of course very dependent on how well you are rested and how you are feeling, and it's not like a big A race, so we're not gonna do a full taper for the 10K. So that of course has some influence on the outcome, and also how you pace it, and if you are, because preferably I would do it outside because the treadmill is just a lot different than actual running outside. And of course outside you can have a little bit of wind. You have temperature differences if you would follow up the 10K on a later time. And maybe you have a little bit of altitude, I should say. So of course, and the last thing, the most important thing is you need to pace it very well, because if you start pacing way too slow or way too hard and you drop your speed, or you can do a very heavy sprint at the end, then you actually did not run around or just above that LT2. And no pressure, because we of course don't expect you to just run a 10K perfectly. There is going to be some learning effect if we're going to do this more often in the future. But just so you know, try to pace it as well as possible and to keep it as constant as possible. Because if you do that, you can use your heart rate at like around the last 15 to 20 minutes to get a rough estimation of your heart rate around that zone 4. And you can also get a rough estimation of that of your velocity around zone 4. And of course the heart rate and the velocity, just like I said, is not exactly the 10K pace because it's more a zone. But I will send after this video some guidelines, and again they are guidelines, but I will send some guidelines how you can use the time and heart rate to use that for future training sessions when you have to do zone 4 work, for instance. And we can even make some estimations for zone 5 or zone 3 and zone 2. But remember, the further away you go from the actual effort, the more it becomes like a true estimation. So that's basically the reason we are doing a 10K. First of all, it is very interesting to see if you make improvement around LT2. Second of all, it's a really good training session and a really hard training session, and we can see if you make some improvements. And third, we can use this information for rough estimations that we can use for training sessions in the future. So good luck, and I will keep you updated about other stuff that's happening in the program or a new weekly update. Bye.